there are always stories that come out of horrible events like this one. This is no different. There are a lot of unsung heroes out there. Let's talk about a couple of them. We got an email from one of our listeners. This is Carla from Valley View, who says, are you going to honor the state troopers that helped the little 7-year-old, we know that's a 14-year-old, not a 7-year-old, get to Philly for his liver transplant during the floods?
Well,
tell us that story.
It is a practice of the Pennsylvania State Police that in June they honor people who do, troopers who do heroic acts and so forth over the course of the last 12 months. So at least there will be something like that in June. We did not make any preparations at this point in time because I'm still in recovery mode. Everybody's in recovery mode as to how to recognize the efforts if we should separate it from that annual June event. That was one. One I learned in my fly around on Friday was of two troopers who were out and on the road. Learned of a woman and two children stranded on the roof of a house, and the house was getting ready to cave in. They worked their way through the backwoods with ropes and stuff. The one trooper tried to get across the river, couldn't. The river knocked him down. They pulled him out with a rope. They found somebody nearby who had an airboat. They were able to get over in the airboat. Now, this was dangerous because the airboats are, their balance is very high. Got over. They got this woman who I believe it turns out was pregnant, and two children down onto the boat and got back. And it was reported the next day that the house was gone. And what's interesting about this was at nighttime in the dark.
Oh.
So these are two
and
very
I'm
brave
sorry,
troopers.
where did you say that was?
That was up in, I want to say, where was that? The Williamsport area.
Yeah, which was one of the hardest hit areas.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And Governor, you talked about the cooperation between government agencies, but what about the cooperation of the public in heeding the warnings? Were we able to avoid additional fatalities because we listened to our leaders?
I believe so. I mean, 13 fatalities is a lot of fatalities, and those are reported deaths, not quite confirmed. I think it's 11 confirmed. I think we are. People got stuck in the rivers that were created by the overflow on the roads and stuff, and that is certainly unfortunate. Not nearly as bad as Hurricane Agnes of 42, but any loss of life is terrible. I hope that the people were listening to the messages that we were sending out. I did go when I was in northeastern Pennsylvania. When it was in Wilkes-Barre at the EOC, I kind of put a stern lecture to a press conference that everybody needs to get out of the area. I wasn't quite Chris Christie telling them to get out, but pretty close to it. And being forceful, and people have to use sense. The one thing that I was scolding people is, you shouldn't be jumping off bridges, as two kids were shown jumping off bridges into the raging.
I heard mention of
waters.
that. What exactly was going on there?
That's
Was this
insanity.
in Harrisburg?
It was down in the York area.
Area.
That is insanity to do that. Because you don't know what's under the water. You could have jumped right onto something, or something can come along behind you and hit you and knock you out.
Because there was debris galore
There was
in
debris
the floodwater.
everywhere. I remember seeing a propane tank floating down and going into the bridge pier of an old railroad bridge up in the Northeast. You have no idea what's going on with those waters.
And
people were asked to go out. Some of the media outlets were asking people to go out and take pictures of the flooding that they see, and that's encouraging people to go out into dangerous areas. If you can stand alongside your house and take a picture, that's fine. But to go out on the end of a bridge that is missing half the bridge, again, is insanity as far as I'm concerned.
No, I didn't ask any of our listeners to go out and do that. That's
you.
what I have Matt for. So that's what we do. But also the Turnaround, Don't Drown campaign is something I heard you mention. Another thing, people driving across roads that are flooded where you can actually see the current on the road. You really shouldn't be driving through that.
That's exactly right. I actually went to law school in Texas, and when I first moved down there in San Antonio, I was surprised that they had these yardsticks alongside the road. 6 inches, 8 inches wide to maybe 5 or 6 feet high. And they had the gradations of how high it was. And I didn't know what it was for until they had the first rainstorm down there and the water came across and you saw how deep the water was. Well, maybe we ought to start doing that here. But people, they see rushing water. Oh, I can make it across there. And as you know, we lost some people because of that.